Thanks so much for clicking on the video. My name is Leah, and let's recap and review. I was about to say Real Housewives. Girl, this is Married to Medicine. This is season 10. I want to say episode 16, but I could be wrong. But it'll be correct in the description bar below. So let's get into it. So it's part 2 of the reunion, and we start off where we left off, where Jackie and Quad are having a conversation as the rest of the ladies are leaving the stage to go and take a break because Andy's like, it's time to take a break. Quad is visibly emotional, and she was like, you really think I would do that to you? And what they're talking about is the releasing of that 3-year-old video of Heavenly and Jackie talking, and Jackie saying some really stupid and ignorant things that had a lot of people in an uproar, specifically Black women online, and we talked about it on the channel. So my thing is, and like I told y'all in my last review, I don't think it's that far-fetched for them to think that Quad would do something like that. Mainly because Quad was fanning the flames online, on top of people were really angry that they, booted Quad off the Napa Valley trip. So I think it's not that far-fetched for people to assume that that would happen, especially when you think about the timing. Like, that whole situation where everyone was mad at the ladies, that video came out was right after that episode. So I don't think it's bad that they were like trying to put 2 and 2 together. Now, I might have been if I was in their same shoes, I might have assumed that too. But then again, I probably would have been like, I don't think Quad would ever take the time to do all of that. That's just not her. It don't seem like her. But Quad, to me, was like pleading her case to Jackie. Jackie pretty much says, I'd rather lose a friend than lose myself, which I was like, girl, what? What are you talking about? I said, how are you losing your friend than losing yourself off of something that you did? You made those comments. So people being mad at you, it is what it is. You know what I mean? Quad basically doesn't include them in their lives. Like, everybody seems to want to have a closer connection with Quad, but Quad is very like, I come film my shoots and I leave. Whereas the other ladies are like expecting her to like reach out to them, and she's not even doing that. And Jackie ends up saying like, Quad, you don't include us in your life outside of the show. Like, she says, I've called you, I've texted you, and Quad was like, I'm bad at text, but I try my best to get back at you to call. And she said, see, you try, but it never happens. And like, we just want to know we are a priority and we mean something to you. And Quad said, I'll do a better job at that. And they actually like hug and make amends, because Jackie also says she'll do better, as well as giving Quad like the benefit of the doubt. I was like, okay, I've kind of figured that was going to happen. I really did, because I don't think they hate Quad. I don't think they hate her. I just think they're mad at that. For me, I think it's more so they're mad at the way Quad behaves when the cameras are down. Because it seems like they were all good, and then Quad, to me, has been on the internet fanning the flames, even now, right now. Like, on the reunion, you are making amends, apologizing. The ladies are apologizing back at you. But then on Twitter, you over here gassing people up, talking about you're disgusted by people's comments and all of this stuff. Where was that energy? Because it's giving very much you was trying to keep your job. It's like, so if you really didn't feel that way, or if you didn't want to make amends with these women, then you shouldn't have come up to them one-on-one and spoken to them. You just should have left it alone, in my opinion. So then we see the men show up, and they're all excited. We then see Simone and Quad, and I think they were in Simone's dressing room, because she was the one sitting down. And Quad thanks her for reaching out to her. And Quad even says, before they the show started to reappear online, which makes sense, because I felt like the ladies were playing in our faces. Because at first Quad was doing Instagram lives with the girls in their comments, and then when they aired, all of a sudden you mad again. And pretty much she said she got re-triggered all over again once they started airing the season. Like, she thought she was over it, but seeing it play out on TV made her mad again. And she was just like, all of that took her back to that place of where she was feeling hurt and she was angry with the ladies. And she was thanking Simone for reaching out to her because of what happened with her niece and all the other times, like when they had issues. And she basically said she doesn't want to lose any more time with Simone. She really wants to gain, like, she wants their friendship to get back on track. Now, I don't know if that's going to happen because Simone is fiercely loyal to Toya, but I think it might actually happen because Toya ends up saying something when they get back on stage that I was like, okay, maybe the group is about, like, the dynamics in the group are about to shift. It feels like maybe it really is about to happen because it seems like everybody is more open to the idea of Quad being back in the group. So the ladies are back on stage and Andy ends up saying it looks like a meeting of the minds has happened. Like, referencing Quad, Jackie, and Simone. And they pretty much says, yes, they all pretty much realize they want their friendship, but they just have to be better with each other. And then, like I was saying, what Toya said when she said, hey, I'm glad it seems like we mean something to you. So I do think that the women are going to move in a different space because I think they actually do care about Quad. I know a lot of people feel like the ladies hate Quad or they think they're jealous of her. And jealousy might be in there, but I think ultimately they just wanted Quad to make them like somewhat of a priority. Not saying that they have to be her only friend group, but it is kind of leaves a sour taste in your mouth when you're calling someone, you're trying to be cool with them, you're trying to connect with them, and you have to see them 6 months out the year because y'all got to film, and then all of a sudden they're a lot more attentive when we're working. And I guess it's different because it's like reality TV is technically a job because this is how you show up, but it's also like people just want to know you care about them, it seems like. So then they do the sweet tea segment. They talk about her surgeries. They talk about her getting married. They talk about her infertility. So basically, she's not considered infertile. I always thought, if you can't conceive, you're infertile. But they said if you can't conceive for a year, then you're considered infertile. And then Quad and Heavenly, they do a flashback to Watch What Happens Live where Andy asks, like, who do you think gets, like, fake fashions? And then Quad was like, girl, I think it's somebody who be going down to the grocery store, be getting them fake fashions. Like, and then Heavenly is like, oh, girl, Sweet Tea, because Sweet Tea told her that. And Sweet Tea's like, no, I didn't. But I don't believe her, to be honest. Then Sweet Tea gets angry. Again, this lady argues like a 20-year-old. Why are you yelling right now, ma'am? Because she's like, why are you working for me? Like, checking for me. You spoke about me on social media. But you did too. That's the part why I don't feel sorry for her. Y'all have this victim mentality when it comes to Sweet Tea. Like, she's somebody's underdog. And people love to root for the underdog. But y'all act like she's just like so downtrodden. When she was online throwing her own shots and her own digs, she was talking about exercising demons out of Gregory's house. We know she meant Quad. She also made a dig about talking about like he was ready for a family. He was ready for this. It's all digs towards Quad. So why are you getting that angry that she's responding to you? And then like Quad said, you can't erase me. If I want to talk about my ex-husband, I can talk about my ex-husband. Because Sweet Tea's like, why bring it up? And it's like, because that was a part of her life. Even if Quad is healed from that, because I see people being like, oh, Quad's not over Gregory. I don't even think it's that. It's like, there's plenty of things that people have gotten over that they speak about. Case in point for me, I used to be close to a couple of people in college and they did me dirty. And at one point when I would talk about it, I would get emotional. My feelings would get hurt. But now when people ask me about it, I laugh about it. But if we talking about like crappy friends, I'm going to bring it up. And it's like, I don't care about those people like that anymore. I wish them well, but it's easier for me to talk about it now because I've healed from it and I'm in a better place. But if I want to talk about it, I can talk about it because at the end of the day, it happened to me. Just like she can talk about Gregory because at the end of the day, their relationship happened. So you expected, that's the other part. You brought your behind, I was about to cuss. You brought yourself onto a show with his ex-wife. Why would you not expect for you to be a topic of conversation? Because these are her friends. Even if they're in a bad place, they are still more loyal to Quad than they would be to you. That doesn't make sense to me. So then Toya's like, well, Quad, why did you say she doesn't fit? And Quad said a lot of people said she doesn't fit. Sweet Tea even said she didn't fit with the group. Talking about they're too old for me. They're grandmas. They're geriatric. So why is it wrong for Quad to be like she don't fit when she said herself she didn't fit? Honestly, like I said, a lot of fans see Sweet Tea as some underdog. I do not. You're a grown woman. You're 33 years old. You're an adult, bro. You got married. You're trying to have a baby. You're an adult. You need to take accountability that you jumped on this show because you wanted to be a part of it and you wanted to have the fame that comes with your face being out there, you being out there. But at the end of the day, you were throwing your shots too. So you getting this angry and upset doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't. And like I said on Twitter, like Sweet Tea is just clunky to me. Like I don't hate the lady or like dislike her, but I don't like her either. Like she just doesn't mesh for me with this group. And maybe if she was paired with a different group, I might have a different vibe. But she just seems like delayed. And again, I always say I'm not talking about mentally, I'm not making but it just seems like she's behind them, not one of their peers, whereas Audra I think was in her 30s as well, and she seemed to be more of their speed. It's just not working for me. So like I said, I Googled Audra. Audra was 32 when she was filming with the ladies because I found like an article, a Bravo Insider article, where they were like, she had her first child at 22 and her second child at 32. So I don't get how Audra meshed so well with the group where she didn't feel like out of place, because she's actually younger than Sweet Tea was when Sweet Tea was filming, because I think they said Sweet Tea was like 33 when she was filming and Audra's 32. So it's just confusing to me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, why don't you mesh? And the thing is, like, you probably should mesh because your gateway into the group is that the men still hang out with Greg. So why don't you mesh? And then someone online pointed out to me, and I'm actually having a conversation while I'm doing the video, where they said it's probably because you can tell how unaware Sweet Tea is and she thinks she's not, but she is, and that bothers you. And I was like, maybe that's what it is, because I don't get how you didn't think none of this was going to happen. And maybe that's just my mindset, is because I overthink things. So I'm always trying to like prepare myself. Oh, that's partly due to anxiety as well. But I'm always trying to prepare myself for something. So like if I do something, I expect the good, the bad, and the catastrophic. So I'm just kind of like, why didn't you expect this to go this way? You also watched this show, so why did you ever think that Heavenly was really going to have your back like that, knowing that Heavenly and Quad are a lot closer? Like, I would have always been cautious around all of these women, because at the end of the day, I'm coming on a show where their friend is my husband's ex-wife. Like, girl, what? So Heavenly gets into it. They start talking about how Sweet Tea and Heavenly were cool in the beginning. They do the flashback when they went out to dinner. And she said where it turned for her, well, Sweet Tea says where it turned for her is that she, her maid of honor told her about Heavenly when Heavenly was at the bridal shower, saying that she doesn't think that they should get married because Sweet Tea said that Gregory was controlling. And so the maid of honor told her that. But I'm like, you did that. You told Heavenly that your husband was controlling. You even gave examples about him not wanting you to get like to do too much because she didn't want you to turn into Quad, as well as you told her at that sit down that he was controlling to the point where he staged a robbery or lied to you and said that there were robbers in the house to scare you into doing what he wanted you to do. So I'm like, you can't be mad at her and not think that somebody's mindset would have been like, ooh, this might not be something you need to do if you were with a man who would do something like that. So Heavenly says she was thinking about her daughter because she has a daughter, and how I don't think I would want my daughter to be with someone like that. Then Andy brings up how Heavenly said that Gregory was old as dirt. Well, Gregory is like 55 or 56 and Heavenly's 53. But this is where I say the ageism digs from Sweet Tea and the ladies doesn't hit, because it's like, y'all are the same age as Gregory. So are you calling yourself old as dirt? Because like Simone said, I don't claim old as dirt. Okay, I'm young. And then Sweet Tea saying that the women are geriatric and old, but you married somebody that is older than them. So are you saying your man is geriatric and old? And he don't know how to have fun? Because if so, then why did you marry him? And that makes you look like a gold digger. And like they said, you digging for copper because Gregory still got you living in the same house that he was with Quad. Now, I'm not saying he should have let that house go, but it's like most women would have been like, hey, maybe we can rent this house out to people, but we need to find a house that's our own with new energy. Not that old stuff y'all had up in here. So then they start talking about the cheating rumors on Damon. I got the receipts, baby girl. Mariah and Buffy are doing reviews of the reunion, but I thought they both were past this, but I guess not. I guess they said I lived it so I could talk about it. But pretty much Mariah said in her little live that they did have, like, she does have evidence that he cheated, but she chose not to expose it. But I feel like if Damon really was cheating, I feel like the information would be out there. I'm not saying he hasn't cheated, but I feel like somebody would have exposed it by now. As much as people can't stand Heavenly, I feel like somebody would have found the girl, or the girl would have came out, or a friend of the girls would have exposed some tea. But the whole, like, it don't be hidden because no one has ever gave us anything to say that man is cheating other than us assuming that he has. So then the men are in the back. Like I said, they showed up. And girl, you got Damon versus Greg. Because Damon was like, you've known me for 10 years. If you think I'm a cheater, say that. Everybody, like, they all sitting there. And then Greg was like, I don't know what you do in your past life, so I don't know if you are a cheater. Curtis gonna chime in. I said, sir, you should not be speaking because we caught you in 4K cheating, okay? He said, well, you dancing around the question. Greg, say what it is. Either you think the man cheating or he not. It's a yes or no question. And then Cecil jumps in. He was like, yeah, it is just a yes or no question. And then Greg says, no. I said, not y'all bullying this man. And Greg let him do it, so I can't even be mad. So then Greg was like, no, I don't think you cheated. And then they shake hands. But I was tickled because they really did bully him into giving them an answer. Heavenly and Sweet Tea are still going at it. They're talking about the whole controlling thing. Quad had a few things right. And then Heavenly basically said she felt bad for Sweet Tea because, she has a daughter. And she was like, well, I told her, don't put all your eggs in one basket with a man. You need to come over here to Dr. Heavenly's university. I don't really know what Dr. Heavenly's university is, but I guess it's a way to help women, like, invest. Because then Heavenly ends up saying, like, you saw Quad. So then Andy was like, are you saying Dr. Heavenly University helped Quad? And she was like, no, but what I'm saying is Quad stacked up her money. She invested. So eventually she didn't need Gregory's money. Like, she could do it on her own. And that's not bad advice. It's not bad advice to tell somebody, don't put all your eggs in one basket. A man isn't a backup plan. You should be able to get it on your own so you can be okay. So then they start talking about the endometriosis situation. So, Heavenly and Carlos King do not interviews, but really they talk about the reunion. Well, Heavenly ends up saying, well, someone asked me a question about it. They were like, what would you do if you thought there was something wrong down there? And Heavenly was like, the doctor and me I would go research it to try to figure out what was wrong. And then I would probably go to my doctor and suggest these are the tests you need to run to make sure everything's okay with me down here. And Sweet Tea ends up saying something, and Heavenly was like, girl, I'm not going to give you the emotion that you want. Because Sweet Tea kind of came off slow because she was like, why are you talking? Because Sweet Tea ends up saying, like, why are you talking to, like, you're saying for me? And Heavenly was like, no, I just said that it was for, like, that someone asked me a question about it for myself. Like, this is what I would do for myself. That's how we started talking about it. And it was riling Heavenly up because Heavenly was like, are you stupid? Are you dumb? Like I'm saying me. I never said you. So then Simone and what's her name? Jackie speak up. They're the OBGYNs, and Jackie ends up saying, it takes 8 to 12 years to really diagnose endometriosis. And then Simone says, and normally it's only diagnosed surgically. But she was like, for Black women, it's even farther because people normally dismiss it, or they kind of don't go get checked. So then they asked the question again, and then that's when Heavenly called Sweet Tea the B word. And like she was like, you're not gonna get the reaction out of me that you want. And then Sweet Tea said something about she can handle Heavenly. And I was like, can you? Because she just called you the B word like 3 times and you ain't cussed her out back not once. Like, light her up. Like, light her up, girl. So they end up breaking for a minute. Have Alicia. She finally gets on stage, and her husband work my nerves. Because you can tell that they look down on the cast. Like, they just like look like that psych ward comment she made about when Andy asked her how they feel about being in this group, and she said it felt like a rotation she did in the psych ward when she was in medical school. And you saw how all the ladies' eyes got big and was like, what? And I'm like, I'm surprised ain't none of y'all cussed her out, because I'd have been like, who the you talking about? Who are you talking about, Alicia? Because I know it's not me. Put a name on it. Because that wasn't cute. And it's like, but you want to be on this show, so why did you think that was okay? Like, that was disrespectful. And like, one of my mutuals was like, well, they need to bring back the elitism on Married to Medicine, which I kind of don't have a problem with. But when they had elitism in the beginning of the season, the earlier seasons, it was fun. Like, I want fun. If we're going to have elitism, let it be fun. Let it be like what we see on like the Housewives show, where there's some people who are like, the lights are not on up there, and it's only by the grace of God that they got money, that they're not in poverty right now, that they married wealthy, that some of them ladies married wealthy, and they're pretty to look at. Because if they weren't, they would not, they wouldn't, that type of stupid elitism. But them, I'm like, everybody on this couch is a doctor or a wife to it. Like nobody, everyone on these couches have degrees, multiple degrees. I think Toya has a master's degree. So the way you like what are you talking about, Alicia? So they talk about Napa Valley. A commenter has a question where they're like, it seems the group felt light and fun without Quad. And Quad took offense to it. And then Simone ends up saying, well, girl, the first night was tense. Like, after you left, it felt different. And Quad was like, y'all make it seem like I'm some dark cloud and all of this stuff. And Simone is like, you are when you want to be, which I think that's everybody. Like, Simone basically says that, like, when you want to be fun, you're fun. When you want to be not so fun, you're not fun, which is normal. Then they get on Kema and Alicia's relationship, where Andy's like, how come, I forgot. It was mad funny when Sweet Tea and what's her name, Heavenly, were arguing. No, it wasn't. It was Quad. When Sweet Tea and Quad were arguing, because when Quad was like, "You're not going to erase me," and Sweet Tea was yelling, and you see Andy grab a food off one of the plates, and I guess it was like a brownie. I thought the food was fake, but that just popped into my head because Alicia got an attitude with Andy when Andy was like, well, why did it take him so long, like, to take care of the kids by himself? Then she got upset because somebody said, well, it's weird that Kema would want to be around a group of women, American women, and have these views. Like, he seems to be passing a lot of judgment. And Alicia was like, Andy, it seems like you're passing judgment on Kema. And Andy was like, first of all, girl, calm down. I didn't ask that question. A viewer posed this question, so I'm asking you. This was not a question I came up with. Chill. So then Alicia makes some statement about like, no, that's not my husband. Very much she doesn't believe half the stuff she speaks about. Like, Alicia is doing what she thinks a wife is supposed to do, but you can tell she doesn't believe most of the things that she's saying. in my opinion. So then they start talking about Toya and her businesses and how the women reacted to it. And she pretty much said, no, everybody was very supportive. Then Andy reads off what Heavenly has said in the past about Toya, like she's lazy, she don't want to work, she don't want to do this. And Toya says, no, I make leisure look easy. No, you don't, Toya. You do kind of give you didn't want to work, but this business venture seems to definitely be working for you. And Heavenly did stand on it. She said, I do think you're lazy. And Toya said, I said, well. Then they did a throwback, which was really cute, where we see Michael and Miles when they were younger, and they're talking about what they want to do when they grow up. We also found out that they've been doing really well in that bachelor pad of theirs, and Simone kind of took it as a dig when Andy said, "Oh, are they paying rent?" And Simone said the mortgage, and kind of like I was like, well, they're not for a whole year, but I guess when they start paying rent, I guess they're going to be paying you, and then you're going to pay the mortgage. That's what it's given. We see Alora. Alora has been Alora since she was a kid. When she called Heavenly fat, when she was like, I couldn't get my arms around you. When Heavenly was trying to say, well, Daddy, why didn't you tell me I was fat? And the way Heavenly was cutting that meat with the fork this way, and I was like, Heavenly, that's not how you cut. Girl, put the fork down. Put the fork down. Put the blade down. So then they start talking about Toya and her kids. That was a cute moment. She was saying how different her kids are, where one of the kids is very like, I want to see everything. And he actually Googled vaginas because he's in sex ed. What's the called name? Quad brings up a time where he unzipped Quad's jacket to see her boobs because he was just interested in seeing what boobs look like when they were younger. And they were like, yeah, he's definitely going to be a doctor. He's just the type of person that wants to get in and see everything. And then we also found out Alora is calling Jackie. I said, okay, that's what you're supposed to do, girl. Have fun, but be safe down in FAMU. They get on the whole Infamil being in the cabinets, because Sweet Tea has been pushing this narrative that Heavenly is hiding a grandchild. And basically, Sweet Tea says she came to this because she and Heavenly were talking, and Heavenly said she wanted grandchildren and that she had a dream that one of her her oldest son was having a baby. And Heavenly was like, yeah, I would love to have grandkids, but I don't have any. She says that Damon is allergic to, and she's been saying that for a while. She said something about being, okay, so this is the thing. I think I remember her saying that it was for her skin, and then I do remember her saying someone was allergic, but pretty much she says that Damon is allergic and he can't have certain milk, so he puts Infamil in his like cereal and stuff. I mean, I'm not a doctor, so I don't know if that's true or not. But I don't really, a lot of the things that they say Heavenly has, like Damon cheating or the grandchild, I feel like because a lot of people don't like Heavenly, we would have heard it. I definitely feel like somebody would have like said something. Like, I don't think anybody would try to protect Heavenly. So I don't really think she has a grandchild. She might, but I'm like, maybe people do like her because no one's like ratted her out about it. So they then start talking about Heavenly and her sister. And Heavenly ends up thanking Sweet Tea because she said that comment where she says your mother's in hell when they were arguing on that live. And I think Heavenly said something about hell. And like, girl, she was like, what the hell are you talking about? And then Sweet Tea said she thought she heard Heavenly said, go to hell. And that's why she said, your mom is there. And Heavenly said her sister actually called when she saw that, wanting to fight Sweet Tea. And that opened up the doorway for them to actually speak to one another. She was like, they text almost every single day. They talk once in a while, but it is helping them, like that helped them bridge the gap. And so Sweet Tea kind of had this look on her face like, okay. But she tried to clean it up, but I was like, girl, you still said that lady mama was in hell. So like, even if you didn't hear her say go to hell or what the hell, like you still said that lady's mama was in hell. So you should be prepared for the sister to be like, where she at, let's square up type energy. We find out that Heavenly is in therapy because Andy says you kind of seem different right now. And she says, I went to therapy. She said, I realized I never mourned the death of my mom. Like, I wasn't taught to have emotions. Like, I've always been taught, like, you don't cry. I don't like when people cry. Like, that's just not how I move. So, like, in therapy, that is what I'm learning. And good for her, because, girl, you need it. Y'all mom did a number on y'all. She did a number on y'all. So then the men actually get on stage. Nobody's suits were really wowing me. I think it was funny to see Dr. Gregory's feet dangling. I wonder how tall he is. Cause I'm 2.5. I wonder if he's like 5'5" or like 5'6". I don't think he's that short, but he might be. He might be. So then they talk about the whole $4,000 from Phaedra. And this is where Gregory just, the cornball factor was turned on, because he says that Phaedra did ask him for 4K, because Phaedra pretty much says, I need to know you could do for me the way I could do for myself, so I would like to give 4K a month. Phaedra and the rest of the ladies are watching in the back, and Phaedra's like, what is he talking about? Because that didn't happen. Then Andy asks, like, did it ever go any further? And he was like, only in my mind. And all the women in the back are like, what is he talking about? I said, making a fool out of sweet tea. Because you didn't have to answer that way, Greg. You could have just said, no, it didn't go any further than that. He was like, he wanted it to go further, but it never really went any further than that, Like, he thought they was moving forward, but obviously not. And then they talk about their marriages. Curtis said something about everyone saw the struggles in our marriages. I said struggles that you created with Jack because you was out here cheating and you got caught in 4K. They bring up Cecil and Tammy. I watched the Carlos King interview with Cecil and Eugene. He actually explained better what the issue with Tammy was. And I thought it was interesting. It gave more context. You know what I mean? So then they talk about Gregory inviting a stripper. And he was like, I didn't think she was going to come. Plus, we know that man was 3 sheets to the wind. That man was drunk. Big drunk. He was drunk. Then they talk about Super Big Fred, that story that Eugene talked about that man taking it up the butt and dying from cocaine, And then Damon gets really emotional about Alora. And he's like, when my boys left, I was sad for maybe a few hours, but I was okay with Alora being gone. I was sad for a couple of weeks. I said, oh, he really loved him some Alora. Alora, I think, is the perfect combination. She looks like Heavenly, but she has Damon's demeanor, and she's very quick with it. I like Alora. Alora seems like she'd be a good time to hang out with. Then they asked Gregory about the armed robbers thing that he did to Sweet Tea, and he actually said that he overstepped. He was like, I just wanted her to take it seriously, and looking back at it, I was wrong. You were wrong, because why would you scare her like that? And she's stupid for being with you, because let a man do that to me. We done. We are done. So then we get on, the men being with their wives. Damon said something really sweet about Heavenly, how it's not about the money or something, that I was fading in and out during this segment. But he said something to the effect that him and Heavenly were on their first date. They went out, they got pizza and ate behind the bleachers, in the car. And he was like, it was just really nice. And I was like, okay, Damon. But you can tell Damon love him some Heavenly. Or if he don't, he do a good job, because Heavenly was like, my man type of energy. So then they get on Kema and the ignorant things that he was saying. And Kema ends up saying, when I first got to America, they were always talking about happy wife, happy life. Pretty much it seems like they were saying that a man can suffer, but as long as a wife is happy. I said, that's not what that means, but okay. It basically means you treat your wife correctly, your life will be happy, because women will go above and beyond for those that they love. Okay, sir, that's what that meant. You don't sound right. You sound crazy. So then Eugene jumps in and says that he really did feel like it was disrespectful when he said, when they do the flashback, when Kema was like, I'm not going to cut my nutsack off, because that's what be happening here. Women have too much control here. And Eugene was like, I took offense because it was basically you saying that your wife isn't equal. And me and Toya are equal. We're equal. So then you see the ladies in the back watching and talking, and like everyone is can't get over Kema saying that like he trained, like the women are well trained. Then Kema tries to say something about how, you know, your household can't, he was like, I don't believe a household can ever be 50-50. He was like, I think it's more 51-49, like someone has to take the lead. And then Damon was like, I don't think you have to peacock all the time, like you keep saying, putting it out there. If I'm the leader of my family, I don't have to keep saying it. Like, and then you have Alicia in the back saying, yeah, I like a man that takes control. Okay, that leaves a man that you said was less than a man because he doesn't fix anything around your house. You do everything. And he had you pretty much being a maid after having a baby, expecting things out of you that you weren't willing to give him. So you sound stupid, Alicia. Lady sound dumb. So then I think a question was like, was Alicia your first like American woman? Because you keep referring to these women as this. And I think it's weird to me because I have friends who are from Africa, like their families are like, I've met Nigerian people, I've met Caribbean people. One of my best friends, I keep saying this, her family's from Ghana. And it's like, their fathers do not treat their wives the way Kema speaks. Their dads love their wives and they do any and everything to make them happy. So I just feel like he has this archaic way of thinking that's not rooted in reality. Maybe back in the day when he was growing up, yes, or maybe smaller villages where he's from, yes. But like the parts of like Africa that are like modernized, that look the same way that they look over here in America, it's like the women be rising up. Like they don't be taking nothing from these men like that. They don't. So I don't know what he's talking about. So then Curtis chimes in about the train thing. And then you see Jackie in the back saying, yeah, it was disrespectful to say that we're supposed to be trained. That doesn't make any sense. So then Kema ends up saying that like all the things he said were taken out of context. And everyone's like, no, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. He talking about he was joking. And then Toya is like, well, maybe some jokes he don't need to make. Like maybe some jokes he does because it's not a joke. Then he said something about the meshing of their culture. You know, like him and Alicia were able to mesh their cultures very well. And it was just, Kima just sounds stupid to me. He sounds like a man that didn't like, what he sounds like is red pill men who say that stuff online, but then when they get out in the real world and they start spewing that nonsense, everyone is looking at them like they got three heads. And then they end up trying to like backtrack because in the real world, nobody really speaks like that. You're only in an echo chamber of other losers who are sad that their lives didn't work out the same way that you thought your life was going to work out. So they want to blame women for it. And Kima gives that because the things that he was saying, I was like, if you read the room, none of the men were like, yeah, that's right. They all were looking at him like, I don't train my wife. My wife is opinionated. I love her because of her opinion. Like, that doesn't make sense. So they end up closing the segment because he ends up saying that, like, that's not how he really felt. But the men's segment is over. They also asked Gregory about Quad. You can tell he still kind of is uncomfortable around Quad because his body language shifted. Like, Quad makes Gregory nervous. Makes him extremely nervous. So they put the couches back on the stage and the men are now on stage sitting behind them and there's an empty chair and everyone's like, Quad, you bringing a man? Quad, you got a man? And they're like, Quad is acting funny being like, oh yeah, y'all, I brought a man. But then they were like, if it's not for Quad, it's for Phaedra. So they was like, yo, man coming. And then next thing you know, Apollo walks in and everyone's like, oh. So I guess nobody on the cast knew Apollo was coming. He looked good. I'm not going to lie. You know, it sucks. Well, he got caught cheating. But he did look good. But I wonder what he's going to add to the conversation. The same way I feel about Kathy being on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills reunion. What are you adding to? Are you giving us some type of revelation? Something? But yeah, that's how the episode ended, y'all. Yeah, y'all, that is it. That is all. Remember to be bravely authentic. Definitely hop down in them comments below. Let me know how you feel about Sweet Tea versus Quad, Sweet Tea versus Heavenly. Do you think the group is going to move forward and be better now that they've gotten their feelings out? But yeah, just let me know your thoughts. And also, what do y'all think about Apollo being there? And I'm out, y'all. Deuces.